So our delegation understood that it's going to be 2 o'clock. So what we'll do is we'll go through the formalities and check everything that it's okay. And then if the delegation is cleared up by then,
So I just do have to be somewhere at 2 o'clock.
we'll make sure you're ready here by 2 o'clock. Okay. So just welcome everybody. Welcome those on the screen. Menor. Congratulations, you good thing. You multi-headed. Listen to you. Been a nice mate, I should say. And everyone else just welcome. And thank you for being here today. Just a reminder for everybody in the room, this is a strategic partnership between Kuaka Autonomy and Whanau Council. Enables under the leadership of Morkel, so we're kind of grateful. Thank you for kind of we're grateful for the opportunity to think of a strategic purpose that we can hold relationships, be with Whanau and communities in a principal position. Regulate those aspirations as a community. So thank you for that. Very big university. So let's work through the day and that process. So first formalities is apologies.
So through the chair, we have apologies from Deputy Mayor Kelly Stratford, Councillor Kreskovich, Wallace Rivers, Margaret Mutu, Katie Murray, Peter Tiffany, Thomas Solfaya, Teresa Ashton, Stephanie Shania, and that is all I've received for apologies.
Okay, anyone else want to add to this apologies if we missed someone?
I think it will, I received apologies just in case Councillor is just going to make it online when this is on.
He's on.
Okay, that way.
We're going to apologise to you, Penny. Okay, so that's the complete list of people who are not here. Just someone to move the second. Over. Gates. Any news, Gates, apologies. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, so we've moved down to how we do the announcement. That's reminds us of the importance of these opportunities. So any announcements other than one I've just extended to any other announcements you wish to?
Mr. Chief, just acknowledging that our government has been announced. We've released their coalition agreement, but just wanting to acknowledge soon to be Honourable Kuaka, who's the Minister for Māori everything.
Yeah.
And I look forward to sharing a close relationship with him from this committee, showing him the power of government, the power of what meaningful partnership looks like at a local government and area level for serving our district and the benefits that come with it. Also have seen that Simeon Brown, soon to be Honourable Simeon Brown, will be the Minister for Local Government and also the Minister for Transport. So I expect to have a very close working relationship with him as well. I know that there's a lot of probably fear across the community around what this means for Māori with some of what's within the coalition agreements. And one thing that the conversations I've been having with other leaders across local government as well is that we'll see what actually comes through in terms of walking the talk that's being portrayed. But for us, everything that we're doing here in the whānau is we carry on as business as usual. So looking forward to starting that relationship with our new ministers when they get sworn in, but also know that we've got huge opportunities with this government and with our elected membership in Parliament from Kutai Tupiro. I think 11 MPs out of the 123 who still on the list, or one final list for Kutai Tupiro. So looking forward to using the power of having such strong representation in our Parliament to make sure that Kutai Tupiro gets ahead for Māori and
Kia ora, mami, e te mana. E mihi tuatahi kia tātou katoa ko hui mai nei I tēnei rā. Hei koro mo I nei kaupapa kei ua e tahi o ngā kaupapa kei ui a tātou. Tautoko ngā koro kia koe e Maria Meno, I whiti te tūranga mena pare mata mo te tai tukerau. No reira, he mahanga aki kia koe, inanahi Hare mai ia ki te hohi pero o whāngarei te whāngai, te maha o ngā tūroro, ki reira, tuha kai o whanei. You're meant to be in Parliament, anyhow. Nā mehi kia koe I whaia. I roho koea te kotana tino kōpaki ko te hanga whare. Engari kawe wari ko tātou wāhi nere rangi o kai taia, nā mehi whaia. Just he momo pāngi, Hangi mate ki te pānau o Frank Herbert no te ui o tai. Me atu ki te pānau o reira, koia te tahi o ngā kaumātua o reira, I tupu ki reira, te roanga ki o tana oranga. Kia Paulette Montino hoki, te tahi o ngā tua hākina kina o kaitai o te runang o te rarawa, I mate rangatahi tunu ia, I te kāingara, no reira rehi atu ki tana whānau Lewis, ngā whānau o te rarawa Ngāti Kuri. I tēnei wā hoki ka huri ngā whakaaro ki a Papa Mokapuru, aha pono katukiha ka noho te nui o tana oranga ki roto o Panguru. Koia te hoaranga tira o Hene Puru. Kia moe ai koutou I te wā te hikoi whenua, koia te tangata nāna I hakai o te pauhaki o te hikoi whenua I te tau whiti te kaumārima. Kei rungi tēnā pau whenua he maha ngā tikanga o te tangata kai kaue. Kia kaue inu waipiro, kia kaue pati to wahine, kia pai o tikanga I ngā wā katoa. And ko Cyril Chapman, no ranga moka te tangati I kaue te nui mo te wā mai te rere no wairua ki pō. No reira, he maha ngā pūrero mo Papa Mokapuru, taku aroha mōna, kāre ia e orana mo te tainga mai o te pūro mo tuarua o te paparahi o te raki tira marama. No reira, paku kia rātou ngā mihi ki ngā whānau pani huina no āku ingari e mihi nui kia tātou te hunga ora. He aha ko ngā piki me ngā heke, ai, he tino ua te mahi tahi me ngā iwi. E pai, ko tai te wā kia rongo ki ngā hatu. E kia moio ai tātou, tērā te take I te tau rua mano te kau mā iwa. I whakai te traipūnara, kia whakanui ngā hapu. O nā puhi nui tonu. Kāre rātou I tino whakahe ki ngā iwi, engari ka tino whakanui ngā hapu, te mano o ngā hapu I te mai I te wā ta haina tano te titi. So tira taku tino, nāmi poto. Kia ora, Mr. Hema.
Any other just
Mas kia ora, toi non tēnei ka te koe ngā mi moko rau. E runga mate, tērā mase nui o hoko panguru o whakarawha, e tangi ana panguru ngā whakawha e rere ana ngā wai, te puna I te ao mārama, mōna tori wata ki te pōru o kampuni. o e o tia i te mate, e rei te whanau ni te katua moka. Kare ati nā kau te mai marara ni kuri o kia tāta, e hui mai nei, e noho uri gauna, uri oraka nei, ui tāta nei whare o te kanihera, e mihana. Hoi no tāku e wāhi kore o mo te tui, i wai ki o i te rāu newene, te raupo te wāhi uri whara me ki nei. Nā koe te kaipapa i haka tukuria ai e Ngāti Kaharau e Ngāti Hau, o tira te Māori o te wai, Dallas Kidman, Sheba Bay, me te tini noa te o ngā whanau, ngā koroa nei, e whapaya na kia haka tika tika i te wāhi uri para o te rāu newene, o Pononi, me te kohu kohu, e roto i ngā marama, kua ki te ai tātou, i te tono a ue nei, i tina tamai te tore te kaimārima tau, ka heki o ki te kaimārima tau i ngā emena, ai roto i ngā marama kata nei, no tātou anō te mana, nā runga i ngā hihia o te mauri o te wai, kia nanati i te kaki o te kawau, kia putai, kia toru tau, hei haka mutu i te tuku i ngā para i ngā tiko, ki o i te tātou whaunga kia niko te kia ngā kapau kurakia. Nō reira e mihau tamātou rā i ngā nahi rotu i tērā hui i whakatuai ki te raupo. Me ngā kōrero i puta, ngā mātou ranga mai i ngā whaimahi o Felicia, o Farm Waters, whakaputu kia Tania Proctor Hoki i rotu i whana tūranga mahi. No mātou te marima nui i whai wāhi atu te katoa o te hapori ki e nā kōrero kāmutu, ai hoki atu mātou ki tērā marae rangatira rawa atu o tātou o te pīti marae ki te ako wānanga, ki te whakarongo ki ngā kōrero. I reira, me te kāmutu, i kite i ngā kanohi o tātou kanohi, i ngā mokopuna e tai atu ana ki runei kaipaka. E mea nui tēnā tāte mea penaka ki te ai rātou, i ngā hua, o tātou nei mana, ki te haka tika tika i ngā he moroko i ngā tau o hipa nei, nā mā rātou wene kaipaka e kawe tonu e tīkau tonu ki te ana mata, no reira e whiwhika anu i tēnā ki i wa tātou tamariki me ngā mātua e tautoko ana kia ki te ai rātou i wene mahi i tātou o reira. Hoi nā te tātou.
Any other announcements? Just, I'm looking at you because one of the things we can celebrate is if the parliamentary step starts at Te Kawatonga, then drops down to iwi hapu whānau. So any thoughts, just rounding up on what Moko started with, dealing with your plurality to give the opportunity to talk to us.
Tēnā tātou katoa e Harry, te tia mana koutou katoa, te tēpu, ka nui te mihi, mai tēnei wāhira, ko te, man, he mea hea, interesting ke, kei roto i te Northland Regional Council Office i nāia tonu nei e Harry. So i te mutunga o tēnei, e pono ana he pānui, he pānui mō tātou. Ka mutu me tai mai au e Harry ki tēnei huhinga, kia ora tātou. Mihi atu ki wa tātou te whānau katoa te motu, ka tika ka mihi ki wa tātou whānau e pani ana, e noho ani raru i te aroha, te korowai aroha, aroha nui ki a tātou. Kei a koutou ngā ingoa ka mōhia nau, ko wai, no reira, e pono ana aroha nui ki a tātou. Me te mea anō, me mihi ki wa tātou mokopuna ka whānau mai. Kia au nei, e pono ana aroha ki wa tātou e mate. Ko te mea nei, kore a hala mai ngā whānau, ngā mokopuna e whānau mai ana. Ko taku tino pai te kōrero mokopuna rising tātou ma. Nā Rob Cooper tērā whakaaro. Kiwa tātou whānau e rawa kore ana e pauwariwana āroha nui kia tātou. So I got a new job the other day. I think you might have heard, and I'm mildly excited, but I'm frightfully prepared. So I'm going into my new job with all the might of you with me. And to that point, Harry, e pono ana te kōrero, me hono hono ki te tahi atu. Me noho roa ki a kōrero ki ngā take, no reire e moko e tika ana. Me wai atu, me tono mai, haere mai ki tā tātou nei whare. So to that of Tama and others, other ministers in key roles, it's always our job, me noho, me kōrero. So I tautoko that, of course. In the opposition role, it won't surprise you that I will be, fighting the good fight in the way that I've done probably for the last 40 or so years. So none of that will change. I'll just get more excited and hold office in that whare. And as Hilda says, but not forget that I should deliver kai. I should do those things, not because I'm cute or anything, but that is the obligation of us. So, kare au e wareware I ngā wa tātou whānau ki tēnei pito te taitokiro a tēnā tātou. Harry, I do feel like, marae and all of our spaces, Māori particularly, are the best training grounds, even though I've left some of those meetings a little bit tearful and frightfully angry. But anyway, that helps me and will help me to brace for what's coming. There is a disturbance in the force, this is not about being dramatic, but I do think listening to Tuku for one and others receiving a number of phone calls with grave concern about what this feels like, what it sounds like, and to brace ourselves for that. So I'm mindful of that very much. And of course, sitting in this council, this meeting, Harry. So in closing for this piece, we have a new chair for the Northland Regional Council, and that is Jeff Crawford. And Tui is no longer in that role, and most of you will know what that scenario has come to mean for many, including her whānau. So koina. So Jeff Crawford is the current new chair, and business is being pursued right now in the office next door. So mihi atu kia tātou. Tēnā koe, Harry. Thank you for the time.
Awesome, thank you. And just rounding up, Paul's recent highlighting to young leaders. I didn't realise the exclusiveness in it. So anybody over 35 was not in the whare. So it's very, so congratulations. And so that brings us back to sobriety of interest registers. Anybody want to alert us to any interests that are of importance to what we're talking about today? I need to call the relation. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So confirmation of previous minutes. We had an extraordinary meeting on the 7th of November. Thank you for those who attended, because there was a quick turnaround, and staff, thank you for the support. I know it's a whole hay to respond to people who just really appreciate letting us talk those things that so for someone to move the minutes. Yeah, thanks for someone to see nothing.
During the chair, just wanted to note that the post by Deputy Mayor Kelly Stratford has noticed that the minutes didn't come out, her apologies, so we'll just include that as a note.
Aye. It's an addition, all favour. Thanks. I'm going home. Any discussion on the back of there?
Mr. Chair, just by way of an update, presenting extraordinary resolution. That resolution is stewing with our staff in the back to make sure that we can legally implement what is within there. and we expect that to come to our council meeting in February 2024 for formal confirmation of the intent of what we were trying to pass within this committee, but make sure that we can meet the outcome. Just while we're up.
So that was shorthand. It's the resolution that came in this table that went up to council is given effect to this shorthand. Okay. So the climate action policy 5.1 about is they're quite dense in my opinion. And Roger, apologies for reading them backwards as opposed to reading forward. So probably a question for staff and management. We understand that the climate action policy is a round-up of the thinking that's happened in the past to respond to today. And then the second part of that is it's a response to the organisation for that. And the third bit is sort of raised the question is how might we include those outside the organisation in the kind of extension or the additionality of so those if you can if you're Esther, if we can someone in there can just tap through those so we can get a degree of comfort around how might we do because I support this good thing because remember this whole getting going up 28 and going to be risk about this scale.
I'll go first. I'm this group management planning policy. This is Esther Powell. She's the manager of climate change and resilience. So between Esther and I, we've worked on this policy, a lot of this policy for a while, and Esther's picked up and disappeared. Apologies. So Esther has picked up and taken this place here. Just a bit back. There was a road act that the council in 2021. This is a continuation, so that's identified. So when Esther came on as the manager, I asked her to pick up and sort of follow the policy position. So in here is reinforcing and implementing things. There's a gap between what government policy is, so policy statements and strategies are saying, and what we need to do on the ground as a council to give effect to it. So a lot of what's going on in the climate change space is recognise that we're getting a lot of direction from central government, but we've got a little bit of a gap there. We need to follow their own policy. But really, a lot of the policy that it's saying is actually giving some clear direction to council staff on what they need to do, decisions that potentially have climate change implications. So one of the challenges that we had with the policy was that we actually need to be to committees. I'll show this be a policy that's an observation policy that would just be taken by staff and applied, and we tossed it around and as well as just a bring policy here to Kuaka, and then take the council as well. So there are some things in the policy. It talks about the task force on climate financial disclosure. Is that right? TC. Yeah. So there's one of the is we don't actually have to legally report, but we're saying that we should prepare ourselves to do the reporting on climate change because we're going to have to eventually someday report back to the government. So a lot of it is some clear direction to staff. So at the moment, there is no clear direction to staff when they're running a business case or putting a paper at council about what the implications of climate change. So the example is, and it's what we dealt with in recent years, was a waste reference system, just something in an area to be identified as being subject to climate change. So it's like, what do we plan for the climate change sea level rise, or do we just go ahead and fix up the it's those sort of decisions that are the biggest things that we're hoping that this policy will help guide that decision. I'll hand over.
That's right.
So I'll have to give them some context, just behind it, because I know it's a lot of it. And I'm touching on climate change mitigation and adaptations.
Did you have any further questions for me?
But let me ask the table, is there anything that want to raise against the project?
Yeah, just very quickly, one of the things, well, I think it is important to bring it to this committee as well, because some of the success in your policy identified when it comes to the actual implementation, you will be looking at you working in the community, so they have to be involved and engaged. So I think it's appropriate that you learn earlier, right from the beginning of the thinking is. Thank you.
So the third point there I raised is the ability for us to have that conversation, that open conversation with you helping whānau. That's built into the rollout plan on C. So are you confident in terms of what we're seeing there? I think our role is just and then get on that people activate.
Mr. Chair, so there is numerous things that are happening in this space. Particularly I'll talk about tōhākā and iwi. There's we work very closely with the other councils in Northland. And we have an organisation called the CAT team, which is Climate Action Ki Tautokiro. And there is different funds available and different engagements happening as we speak. So I can tell you that 2 weeks ago I applied for $1.7 billion from the climate relief unit, cyclone relief unit. And that's to look at adaptation work at Waikato Marae, and also looking at some of the communities out there. There is also a fund coming through, a contestable fund from NRC, and there is, I think, at last time there was 11 marae from up here that have applied into that fund, and so conversations are starting there. So in the background, things are already happening. What this policy will do will give us some structure and guide organisations. So, so one of the things that the policy will establish is a climate reference group, and what that group will be responsible for is getting an implementation plan in place. So that will have membership across the organisation and pull in a whole lot of different strands.
Steps in articulation.
Just put it, I suppose I really am interested in, you know, if there's have to be Māori, you know, running here partnership. And I just see and sense that tile management is probably going to be the biggest employee body of hapu and iwi Māori in the near future, because we're going to have to work really hard to tie off. So would it bother you? Do you think we need to go and talk with hapu and iwi now, or put this on the table with conditions that, you know, that there be a timeline to talk with hapu and iwi? Because I know Te Kao Tangi is delivering the portal tile portal, and other people got a lot of other different ideas. And I suppose the other one was, you know, this climate reference group. Would that, I know it says reference group, but you know, how do we do this? So firstly, I'm asking, is, do you want to wait to have kōrero with hapu and iwi, because there should be somewhere, because they may put other things in here that might be missing. And then is there, like, I like the idea that there's contestable funds, but the climate reference to would that involve, and then you've got Ministry of Environment here. Bits and I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just asking the question really. Do you need to have it like this month or is there a timeline for how we need to engage? Even though it's never enough, there's a new government.
In the policy or at that time?
In the policy.
But in the policy, if this group feels that that is necessary, then absolutely, absolutely. I think moving forward, we want to get this right, and we want to make it right for everybody, including Hapu and we. The second part of your question was about how we engage in Hapu in that reference group. I would be seeking advice from Tohono on that.
Yeah. So is there a timeline that you like to read, if like, could it sort of be extended till March or something to allow? I'm just asking, there's nothing that's gonna hold us up, you know, if you don't have something in place.
No, all it does is it stretches the time out, I think.
You won't lose funding.
No, this is an internal policy. This is about how we're going to do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's an internal policy, it's not.
that's very much, it's about direction for staff.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so the policy is provides the direction to staff.
so it's not sort of like the rest of like a bylaw,
No.
policy like.
No.
It's,
Yeah.
So the guidance, within the policy itself, it talks about, for example, adaptation Māori planning by Māori for Māori. So that principle would then be taken by staff within the organisation and apply that principle.
So I think from a public visibility point of view, what we're anticipating is that when a paper lands on a committee meeting or a council meeting, the person who is writing the paper will have to refer to the climate change policy that they've given the policy. So we always see it where it becomes an basically internally out to the public. It's going to be that as the council starts when they're putting the paper up to do something, to build something, or apply some policy position, like the term, is that the question fundamentally asked, like our policies, have you considered taking into account the climate change policy? And it'll be that's and the person who I wrote that paper to say, if I've taken this into account and into account talk to us to provide change policy. So if you see a paper taken the Te Kuaka, it would be, I'd expect that as part of looking at this internally, it's steady that the person who wrote that paper would have done.
Does that make sense to you, Stephen? No?
Yeah, I've got any questions.
Hey?
I do have any questions.
Oh,
Okay, we've got a nice placeholder there. Steve, you want
Yeah,
to?
I guess my first question is for date, is this first, or is this an update? And how far do we go back?
This is dated the 30th of October.
So this is the first,
Draft of the policy. No, I think it's a first.
and I'll just refer to a couple of things and then I'll get to the question. On page 13, under the three key functions, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, adapt to changing climatic conditions, promote a sustainable future for generations to come. And then you also state there aligns with national and regional strategies. Page 18, principles, ka mua, ka nui. I think we need to apply that to everything we're doing. In fact, there's a whole lot of stuff that's already been done that I think we can learn from. Now, then walk forward. My question, and it relates to something we just said a minute ago about the climate change themes on everything we do. And on page 34, you've got responding to climate change. You've got 4 items of this. The council's got 1 and 3. If it's 12, council reduces its carbon emissions. How are we going on that? Do we have any detail on that? Do you know what we've achieved in the past 12 months, for instance?
Oh, right, okay, so,
There's four focus areas of the responding to climate change: mitigation, adaptation, reducing our carbon emissions together, and developing resilience.
absolutely, but you know, this council.
No, just that climate change. Yeah. The question I have, if you look at three, future, prudent future proofing,
Yes.
infrastructure. We've got a whole lot of hidden horizontal infrastructure pipes and things like that. How is this policy going to help us there?
Okay, so what it will do, it will establish the reference group. The reference group will have membership from across the organisation, so including infrastructure. What that reference group will do is create an implementation plan. So looking at things like the scope is so wide. So say somebody who's a member from the infrastructure area might talk about sort of future proofing infrastructure or intergenerational design, using the tools we've got, looking at where sea level is going to be, looking at particular returns for flooding, whatever, and building that back into the planning for that infrastructure.
So that drops me to number 4, developing resilience. What areas are we looking to exclude from future development through our planning process?
Looking to exclude this in terms of
No,
yeah.
So what you're going to look at there is the strategy that's was adopted in 2022.
what's this when you talking actually?
What we're seeing now is the policy that we identified in that roadmap now coming to tables to be adopted. So what we found, it's like a lot of strategies and policies, is the words that are on the page there having to be coming into effect on how the council operations works. So this policy, by adopting the previous policy into council operations, means that we are actually going to effect the things to it's actually giving some clear direction to start. So what we were finding is that even though we had roadmaps in place, people were not taking into account climate change and looking like we would develop, we would develop.
Which is why I asked the first question, what report date is this? You're saying today, you look on that same page, 34, under the mitigation, the second paragraph down, it says, in line with the Paris Agreement for Climate Change Response for the Zero Carbon Amendment Act 2019, six pages of New Zealand. That was 4 years ago. So, and then bottom of page 35, doing more of the current state to set the goals. So where are we at in that process? Because this is just, I'm just trying to establish what's our risk profile. To me, it sounds quite high, based on what we need.
Yeah.
So the policy itself is to give effect to actually doing it. So we found as council operations as the rest of the organisation, and as the example of the track plan, just multiple other situations we've come across, not taking into account climate change in decision making has been made. So it's just not happening. So
That's my, I guess my main point. Yeah, if climate change needs and everything. Yeah, I support what's here, but I just think we're well beyond that goal. And how to catch up really through the future. That's all I have to say. Thanks. Thank you.
Cool, thanks, Steve. Just checking on the screen, is any questions you want to raise, Roger?
Kia ora, Harry, through the chair, if I may. And I have to confess, I don't actually have all the papers with me, but I just picking up on some of the from the presentation, and thank you for that. I'm just pleased to see that the word taiao is still there and still being used, so yeehaw to that. Small gains anyway. And I obviously am still pleased that when expressions like by Māori, for Māori are still present today, then that's great. That's another win. And interchangeable with by iwi for iwi and by hapu for by hapu. And so those things are good to know from my end of things. My points would be that iwi and hapu and other settings in which we organise ourselves, we have plans. We already have plans, and they are boots on the ground plans, and they are worth understanding and knowing, like deeply knowing, as this policy starts to move. Harry, because sometimes the way in which we even discuss it, there's some assumptions. I don't think anyone's been necessarily uncharitable, but it's in the discussion, it can assume that these things aren't already understood, and there is no better an understanding. If I wanted to know what the climate change issues are for Opoti, I would go to one person in the first instance, and that would be Nikki Conrad. He walks it, he fishes it, he's fenced it, and all those things. So it's that kind of intel can only collect on the ground. So just worth knowing, and when Hilda raises, when might we have those conversations? So I want to make those points, Harry. I think contestable funding is a useful tool, but often when that starts, more is required. So however the fund or the budget is set to that, it isn't a one-off, here, go buy something pretty type of approach won't be enough. So that in mind, and a reference group, any reference group from our point of view would be that it is a reference to and by, and created and designed by Māori for Māori, literally. Tēnā koe te chairman, kia ora tātou.
Okay, so to keep us going, and thanks, you've worked and pointing us in the right direction, so well done. So we've got a recommendation in front of us that states that the Te Kuaka Te Ao Māori Committee endorse the climate action policy. I suggest we have additionality to that, and additionality is and supports early socialisation with iwi haku whānau and communities, because these are things we can't hold on tightly. It requires every valley, every river, every harbour to take a degree of responsibility and ownership. So at iwi level, we've scope what that looks like for our time to the court, and we believe we need 30,000 homes for years to be able to be accountable. Every village, every so what I'm suggesting with the extension of that recommendation is we've got that articulation of it. The segregation process. So it's not us holding on it, it's our communities holding on it.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Just to reply to that just briefly, because it's not our intention to be the leader on all this stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, what we're actually looking for is where we can actually support the children's to play, and we play a supporting role, and we're quite clear about that. So if the community wants us to lead, then we're trying to stick in, but realistically, there's so much to do. That if there's something going on already, we should be there to support.
Yeah. And whatever roles is appropriate.
So if we landed today, remember there's a tomorrow, so the iterations could be interesting. We've got a bad good terrain. So Cassie, you just want to read out what I said.
So the recommendation on the table is that Te Kuaka Te Ao Māori Committee endorse the climate action policy and support with early socialization with iwi haku whānau, and we need a mover and secretary.
So someone can move it. Oh,
Can I just ask for some clarification? By socialisation, we do mean putting it out for like a consultation, or do you mean just getting it out so people can see it?
our way of doing that is having a cup of tea. Yeah, it's still pretty safe.
Yeah.
Keep it really informal. Tell everybody who you are. Yeah, just build the relationships.
Yeah.
Don't scare people.
Trust, engage.
No, that's fine.
You okay with that clarity?
Yeah.
Okay, good point. So just,
Mr. Chair, would a media release with the attachment with words that we can capture from the recording of this from yourself, that we can then take on to have cups of tea with others and
Absolutely.
bring back to the table some of the feedback that comes in space, feel okay?
So if this is okay, if this sounds right, I have a media release planned for I believe it's the 15th, or the week of the 15th, that's a Friday after the council meeting. Are you happy to wait till that point and then we'll release, or would you like to do it beforehand?
I think we do it in conjunction to the final recommendation being moved. Fine. Okay, all good. So still looking for the move of the second. Someone, okay, someone seconded. All in favour? Okay.
Kia ora.
Mr. Chair, just looking at the time, I was wondering if the presentation should.
I agree. Okay, Chip, we're all yours.
Great. Kia ora tātou, ko Chicky Radkin tōku ingoa, no hoki ana hau, engari kei kaikoe taku kainga noho. I'm Chicky Radkin. I'm currently the Kaikoe Hokianga Community Board Chair. And I have a report that members in the room have received this morning. And I just want to apologise for a couple of things before I start. And the first thing is that the report refers to the Hokianga Community Board are here. Well, we're not. I'm representing the board, and I'm not representing every member of the board. I'm representing the majority of the board who were able to meet to discuss the kaupapa around the Rawiri campus lease by the Puna or Kupenuku. So that's the first point I'd like to make. The second is that this report has been recorded has been collated following concerns shared from members of the Hokianga community, primarily to members of the Kaikoe Hokianga Community Board. And it's an opportunity for me to share their concerns and to be a voice for them. This is not my voice, this is the voice of the Hokianga community who have written to us as community board, have had conversations with single community board members, have emailed their concerns as well. And I want to be clear that some of the issues mentioned are a little bit hard to share, but it's important for me to be hono, and to make sure that the issues that have been reported to us are shared as they've been shared and not glossed over with any fancy words. So Ipu and I are colleagues. I'm an educator too, and so is Ipu, and I don't want this to be an attack on her or on the current rōpū at TPOK in Rāngi, because they have been progressing things at the campus, and I see this as an opportunity to share the community concerns. So just to reiterate, and kapai, arrive, so just to reiterate, and if you must have heard me outside, just walked in, but I was just saying that I just wanted to reiterate that the report is a report from the community members, and this is giving me an opportunity to talk to you. I was going to to follow up by saying it's a bit like making a banana cake without the bananas, and the bananas have arrived, so that's great. Oh, chocolate, quite that. So, I don't want this to be he said, she said. This is what the issues that have been recorded here in this report from Kuaka Community Board members are the issues that have been shared with us by community members. I also want to acknowledge that some time ago, Councillor Busich and I and a couple of District Council staff members visited the Raoni campus, and from there I understand there have definitely been some progressive moments for the campus. So I'm not aware of those, and this report, as I said, is the voice of the community. So the first thing is that in regards to Te Puna or Penuku, the community board involvement thus far has been that we've received letters of concern, phone calls and kōrero from a variety of people and groups from Kuaka. We met with Whaiuku and Pūropu on the site at Raoni campus to discuss these concerns. I'm not so sure that those concerns were explicitly shared with TPOK on that day. That's a personal reflection of that week that I attended. We've received copies of reports from Hague and Christensen building, re the flooding, the buildings and the structures. That report is available publicly somewhere. I'm not clever enough to know where you would find that, but I know it is somewhere and it has been presented. There is an MOU between TPOK and NZDC and the lease of the campus. So we've also received through the Kuaka Community Board building and maintenance issues and reports at our monthly hui. So the issues that are here in the paper that I know isn't being shared with our whānau online, but I won't go into deep detail, but I'll just mention the issues, and I'm sure that the paper that I'm speaking to will be shared with Whaiuku and Pūropu. So the first thing is around the health and safety, I think, the maintenance and the repair of the buildings. The educational courses for me are a factor that has to be a priority because the campus is there for educational purposes for all people. So it's been reported to us that there are a few courses in progress, that courses aren't widely advertised. Many courses are short, part-time, and that the space isn't fully being utilised fully, and other educational providers are struggling to access spaces at the campus. Some recent media release footage was around the heritage fruit trees that were cut down at the campus. That created a lot of raru, I guess is the term in the community, in the wider community, particularly with people that think dearly about about trees. Those trees were heritage fruit trees. Other matters that have been reported are the meetings that they're not publicised, and that there are members of the public that would want to be involved and can't because the AGMs, the regular meetings aren't publicised, or they don't know where to find those publicised meetings. And in conjunction to that, the communications in regard to the campus in general is lacking. There is reputational risk, of course, we feel for FNDC and Kuaka Community Board. That the campus isn't operating to its full extent, and we would dearly like to see that happen, not just from the community board perspective, but also from the Kuaka community. just want to acknowledge the previous Kaikoui Hokianga Community Board Chair, Mike Edmonds, who put a lot of time and effort into this area, and I believe Muko, you were part of that too. Determining the lease, it appears that the lease is as tight as it could or should have been, and so the rules around what we can and can't do might be a little bit loose. So just in summary, I would like to see the CPOK succeed for the benefit of all our ward and acknowledge the hard work that has historically and is currently evident. The Kaikoui Hokianga Community Board wants to support the success of education at the campus and can only do so if the recommendations are actioned, particularly the health and safety recommendations, not just for the participants and the apunga that attend the campus, but also for the staff who are on site. So we would support an extension of the lease to the Māori campus at this time. And now I'll ask, I'm not sure if I have 5 minutes or not.
Well, you get a full stop, so. So we just clarification, who's we?
Kaikoui Hokianga Community Board.
Sorry.
It's the majority of the Kaikoui Hokianga Community Board, as I said previously. We had one member not involved in the conversation.
Okay, so that's our starting point. So, well, the timing is perfect because part of the solution is next year. So, IOP, PDFC, Cura. So maybe as a starting point, so our role is to uphold the mana, so it's explored it all. And just part of me is going to say we're looking for a human solution. So how might we do that through quarter or time together? And there's things we have to look at, they don't fall out of the sky. So I you want to start your corridor and your articulation of your expectations.
Buenas tardes, tú aquí directo por parte de la votación yo que para te conto que ya no cabe por el grupo hay que la que ya ve y ya ve que ya no da que que corre y va a ser un código que correrá que hay come to come here, pick up can you tell me what I have some questions in here. You have these finances, and I'm thinking, what is it to the community? That's a business. You've got these educational courses that you don't know anything about, you've never thought to find out. These heritage trees, and they were all stock, rootstock.
I love my fire. And two and out to me, I think I photo, how do I do one year? Not the heat cafe. Kahara my coat, you don't need to up your money, mana, no later, no, my hand like one me. I tēnei wā, tēnā te kua wātu te wā kia koutou te hakatakoto tō kaupa. E mōhio I mua te kāinga mai o te rōku nei. Nā koutou I tino inoi ki hara mai te kōrero mō ngā kaupapa ki ana. Mō reira, te kōrero kia koutou. Nau mai, haere mai, hara mai ki waini e tātou. And he pai, kei konei whaia tuki hei hei reo mō tōna rōpū ka haere ia e mua te ua karaka, te raki kati ka tīna ka mua aia. Nō reira, ko te e mea pai nāi nei ka tukuna te wā kia koutou te hakatako tō tō ake kaupapa kōrero. Kāre te whakautu te pātai o tēnei pātai tira kia mai ne. Nō reira, me hoa ki te wā kia koutou. Aroha mai.
You know, I do have a lot of difficulties with this.
Ai, ai mo tira ki te taha me.
For us, I wanted to put the, oh,
I'm here.
yeah, what I'll do is I'll do this first and then you can put all together. Ko wini wa you know, it's really unnerving coming to things like this because I remember I've been here many times waiting for the one. So a lot of it we got through. We were the ones with we were the ones with the programs. So I know Chiki has spoken. I think Chiki may have. I think you've got something on your computer now about the report.
Yeah.
And we are in. You know, we've only been only started last year, 2022. Halfway through the year. That's when the one really started. HFIT had it before that. So then they come up with this thing in 2023. They look at if we do renew, but allow the leasing to remain in occupation, the leasing will become a monthly tenant. That's not going to suit us one little bit. I did talk about coming to talk to you about a 17-year lease. Yeah. So I need to go back. So the rundown on page 1 is that this report has created a problem for the one world. The environment of insecurity, anxiety, and a lack of certainty will erode confidence, not only for TWOH, but also for our main provider and partner, the Kuaka, additional care. Now, further development, of course, now, what I need to say here is a lot of what I've got there is still under wraps, for goodness sakes. This is the business that we're doing, and the Hoklama community has forced my hand into opening this up. Now, if any of these courses fall through, because of this, it's out in the open now. You know, I'm going to get really pukuri about this. Because we've worked hard. We started when we hit that. So this, I know if talk about window, but don't talk, please. Because I've got window place.
I've spoken to Tor this morning.
You can buy the place.
The reason why I spoke to him because he's got an appetite to affairs in a particular way. So don't be afraid of people leaning in. Because the coconut is great coconut.
We have negotiated all these right through to 2025. I said to you, Moko, I said to the whole community, the council, give me 5 years to get all this coconut up and then give me another 5 years to consolidate. I'm not even in my 3rd year, for goodness sakes. I'm not even at this. So I'm for of this, the community she can speak of, because I know who they are. And I've never run into anything like this in my 14 years of teaching in secondary schools across Auckland and across the North. I've never come across anything like that. Okay, back to the I'm not shy. No, you're nice to be. Go for it. No, I'm going to listen to the president. Okay. this is our concern because the future of the current courses and the future of courses for Hapu and community. Now, this is Hapu right across Hokianga. I'm talking about the Māori, Ngāti Hau. I'm talking about all the Hapu in and possibly anybody else, because these are not just for Māori, but it's Māori design. This is right across the board. In fact, we had a pāpeka on the construction course last year in the second semester. So that's going to put a lot of people at risk. Now, I expressed in the hui with, it wasn't with Chiki and the Māori, it was with myself. When they brought this letter into us, that I'll be seeking that order to continue with trade training, professional training in Māori Hapu to meet the needs and aspirations of our Hapu. I just want to go back to the constitutional members of the Kupu. Our Kupu whakatauki, ko tahi tonu te hiri I kakeaia tāne ki orana, ko te hirina o te mahara o te rekening whanu. Ka kawe tāne te hiringa patua, te hiringa take te aomara, ki te aomara ma ka waiho hei ara mo te hiri I whakarauika nei te hiringa o te mātautanga. You know, our Pākehā colleagues at the time wanted all of this. So we put it in. And we trained them. So we had the translations. There was only one power that transported Tāne to Tiki. It was the power of the mind. Tāne conveyed the supreme powers resulting from ancient powers to the world of light as a pathway to the multitudes assembled with the power of learning. Now, the mātou tupu whakataki in the Constitution is ko te oranga o a tātou uri rarunga atu I te whakapono ki ngā akoranga me ngā mōhiotanga o ngā tūpuna I tukunga mai I roto I ngā whare whānanga. Tēnei kupu I tukuna mai kia mātou te rā. So those are the kupu he gave us. And then we all wanted the Pirikia Waitangi in that. And we've got the Pituna Kupenu subscribers to affirm the Pirikia Waitangi in his role in the administration of the learning and training facility. So the Pirikia Waitangi is expressed through assisting staff, students and communities to grow a sense of pride in and an identity with the cultural heritage of the Māori. And they were all happy with that. So let's have a look at the Wānanga Hokianga. The background. Now this, the Wānanga Hokianga stands alone. If you have a look at TPOK, you've got Te Puna Kupenuku who manages the facility, and you've got Wānanga Hokianga underneath that, and you've got HTIP, which is the Hokianga Education Trust. That we're supposed to have been partners. So, TWOH came to the table with the Mātauranga and training plan for the Rawena campus almost 12 months before North Tech finally closed their doors in Rawena. We spent a large part of 2017 conspiring with the Hokianga Tai Whenua. They're meeting today. I had to leave that to come here. Applications of Hokianga in the Paparaki ki te raki claims to the Waitangi tribunal. And later began consulting actually with the hubs and communities in Hokianga. In 2018, we took our kaupapa to Māori, to local hapu, to the valleys, and with non-Māori groups in Rawene and Kuhukuhu, and with FMGC. I mean, we met with the Hokianga ward quite a few times, actually. We also spent a good deal of time during those years negotiating forces with a number of education providers, finally settled with Te Pūkenga North Tech, because Toa was the CE at that time. And Te Pūkenga was open to co-design learning programs, because I come through a mainstream teaching schools You're Roslyn, I didn't my captain. Yeah, okay, yeah, te papa. I don't know. Co-designing learning programs that will suit our values and Akoroma Māori. And in the process, TWOH formed a loose partnership with the Hokianga Community Education Trust in 2018. Together, the two groups moved to secure the campus for education, training, and events from FNBC that led to the establishment of TPOK becoming the Incorporated Society in 2019. The lease was signed in 2021. TWOH was incorporated in 2022, and level 2 construction was rolled out in August of 2022. The Māori course followed a week later. Now, TWOH has 4 bands of goals. These are the board goals. The white kaya is in another division. Mātauranga and kainga for whānau. This is the drive. This is the Mātauranga drive. And I'll just touch briefly on the courses to bring an awareness of what the current and what is under wraps actually, of what the current courses are. So how the courses started in 2017, 2022. To 2022, our group spent almost 5 years engaging with groups and whānau and hawhuri Hokianga, gathering information concerning their educational aspirations, their realities, and negotiating suitable courses with tertiary providers that involve certification and degrees. The degrees will come in probably in 2024. That's the whole that they're designing now, and I think toiling are all in that area. So for us, the nursing course will run in Kaitaia, from Kaitaia to the Rawene campus, and then Keke. Those are the 3 campuses that will be running the EM courses, and the degree will be run down here in Keke. That's how far down the road we've gone. So the object to bring free courses into Hokianga to address whānau poverty and homelessness in our valleys, to train and upskill whānau, to support their housing needs in terms of affordability and getting them out of absolute substandard living. Part of the engagement was designing the Maramataka course with the Kuaka for delivery on tenants. Now, all courses have outcomes that will benefit individuals, whānau and will add to the economic growth of Haku and of the region. Now, I'm just going to touch lightly on this, on the courses, because my big push is stepping in there. Number 7 on page 3, 2022 semester 2, August, September, we brought in the construction, and that was really last year. We've only been there how many months now? From August last year to when did all this happen? Actually started coming to grief in June of last year. August, April, May, June. That's when I first started. This is we started to get up and down, well, it brought us grief. This is where the grief started, was in that year. But anyway, so I'm not going to dwell on that. Go through that. So in semester 2023, that's this year, because we've got the Reo running, we've got the Maramataka, we've got the Tapaluana, and of course we've got the, now everything will come under the Maramataka later on. So that's in semester 1 of this year. Semester 2, oh well, look what's happened in semester 2. We've got different things going on. The construction is running again. We've got, we finished it fourth. They're coming in a 4-4, oh yeah, coming in a 4-4, a cup of tea with us, and they got broke up, it's North Sick. And that's it. They're pretty good. So these are the things. Now, if we go to page 4, we look at the 2024 semester 1. Now, that's where we want to roll out the enrolled nursing, full-time 18-month course. And then that's those are the quarter you get for that. Then 2024 semester 2, we want to bring the title will be running. And we've just got the cordial today, last night, I got the cordial from our, one of our trustees that, the title will be running on the campus. What I'd like to do is talk about the title heat program that we're designing now. I'm designing that with, it's North Tech. This is technology. This is the kind of thing our young people are into. Digital music, digital digital this, digital other. And to hold them, we know code is what holds our young people. Now, these are the people who are don't want to, they don't want to go to school, they get kicked out of school, you know, they just one of those things that they have to finish school because they're going to help their father, they're going to bring money into the house, keep it waiting for her or what happened to family. So we have to find ways that we can still keep that education going for them, but a lot of it is our young people who are not engaged in anything. Especially those who want to work and still continue on with their education. So we're planning all that, even to increase or improve on their we call it credits, helping them with their credits. We know very well how that is done. So as a secondary school teacher, we know everything. We've got primary school teachers here as well, and education commissioners, so we're not doing this on our own, very widespread, both North and South Auckland and Mid-North. Because there are two campuses running construction level 2, that's Hokianga and Rāwha, and then we feed into level 3 here in Kuaka. So the van goes through here and they take them out to level 2 in Kuaka. And so we are working with Mid-North as well. So these are the kind of things that we've got going there. I refuse to take on Ed because of Ed is over there in Kiri campus with what was his name? Ignore. Yeah. So they wanted to be altered, but no, I'd rather design our own program because altered, we have to get our young people, our faculty to a certain level, and then you go back into the mainstream. The very mainstream that they run away from. So I'm not into that. So we're designing our own courses for that. So we look at level 2025. If we get there, so we've got all these other things happening in 2025. I had a carver visit me towards around the beginning of this year, and he talked about the kāre waka carving, waka, and that's going to be run out in the community, but it's going to come under the campus. So they're already planning all that, and these are the photos I need to have with North Tech, with our wātangi talk. They come out and discuss all this with us. Now, these are the partnerships. We were at the beginning of this year, CWOH was working on a partnership with North Tech. And of recent, we started talking about or discussing a partnership agreement between TPOK, TWOH, and Kuaka. Now, the reason for that too is to strengthen our base. That was another reason for doing this. We shouldn't be having any interferences with this. Now, DPOK now is in danger of losing the lease and that puts the one more in. Some of the courses we could take out into the community, but the rest we may have to, well, we can't put in level 2 construction in here because they're running level 3 here. That's why they push level 2 construction out to get it up. Okay, so looking at all our networks, you've got the Māori campus, which is managed by TPOK. You've got Te Kona, which is another provider we're working with. They're managed by Te Kona, TKT. The Māori campus is managed by the Kuaka Māori Kaikohe. Keri campus is managed by the Ngāti Rehia. Kaikohe campus is managed by Te Runanga o Te Rarama, by, what's her name, Katie. She's been there before with us in Kaikohe and in Whanare with the head office. And then we've got Kaipara, Otago campus for the Kawariki. Now, these are bees, it's actually from Hokianga. So these are the bees that are managing that. And then we've got Kaipara campus that is starting to develop as a Māori provider of education. Now, I want to get you number 2. I want to get you moving forward for TPOK and Te Wana o Hokianga. You know, we are not delusional, we know that the majority of Akoma registered for these courses will be Māori from Hokianga and the Big North. And this new generation coming through is not going to take on just anything. We know what is needed and and that's what our aim is in Māori. So I'd like us to look at the demographics of Māori. Because if we're looking at Mid-North and the whole of Kuaka, we've got Māori whānau, we've seen a huge shift of whānau back into Hapu and Papakaina, Ngāra Katoa, and our young whānau with their children. I see all around. Ngā Taitama, those who don't want to be in school, those who have been kicked out of school, they're not going to go anywhere, they're going to stay. Those have dropped out, school leavers not going away, and those have to leave school to help finance. So we've got to look around how we can support all that. Having a look at our new generations, looking at their roots and tikanga, these are the new generations that are coming through. They're touching base with Hokianga, looking for rentals to return home, those wanting to bring their aged parents home as well. The new talents in the Hapu, we are seeing a lot of our talents coming back. Remember, I think in the 70s, I was one of those people who were going out there and saying, look, hey, we've got a brain drain. In Ngāpuhi, we're going to stop the brain drain. But now we're seeing, what do you guys call it? We're seeing a brain revival. Our talented people are coming back. In the 21st era, we are seeing that revival in the regions, those returning to their lands, to Hapu, and to the regions. They advertise in Mātauranga in social media. They turn up at Hui, and they trap us over a cup of tea. I get that with a cup of tea again, and here they are in my ear all the time. But it's okay. That's how it is. You know, they're trapping, you've got to listen. But it's giving me an idea of the demographics now that we're facing.
Financially, I'm just conscious of time.
Okay.
Which is
I mean, finish
a colonised process.
What time have you been?
You've had 15 minutes, but don't worry. The bit I'd love to hear is what is your relief? What are you asking from us?
A 17-year lease, uninterrupted.
So a longer lease.
A longer lease.
Yeah.
Yes. A much longer lease, and 10 years now is not enough.
Okay.
It was 5 by 5. We thought it was fine, but now with all this happening, 5 is not enough, and then we've got to go through this rigmarole of begging. I'm not into begging anymore. This is all about our people in Hokianga, our whānau, our hapu in Hokianga and the North.
You're looking for security of occupants.
Absolutely security.
What else are you asking for?
Well, we want to do this. We don't want to be interrupted or interfered. I mean, if you're gonna hand over the whole thing to us, we'll take it.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
I got you.
Keeping up to that, okay, get that first.
And she'll ask you for the rest.
Yeah, okay, and then the corollary of that is, what is the expectation from your corner to the response to security occupancy? Because to give, there's gonna be a risk cost here. What's the risk cost?
Would you like to answer that? Like to,
Yes. Just be brief so we can deal with it. We've got to narrow.
Reciprocity is there, a long list of the things that we would like to do, and people have an expectation for us to do at Te Kuaka are not really possible when you're living on a string of time. You know, so I guess the reciprocity is that we will then be able to leverage the partnerships that we have negotiated to significantly improve that property and address most, if not all, of the really unbalanced and selfish perspectives that have been brought in this paper. That's the reciprocity. Yeah.
Anything else?
Liliana?
Liliana? Words.
He's gonna go. Okay. So we, you leave the people to us and we will deliver. We're talking housing here too. We're talking about ending housing. We can do it. We know we can do this.
Come on, yeah. So that's, we're clear about that. And that's a conversation we need to shape as we go forward. So,
Do all our supporters here?
yeah. Bring them all.
You go. I just wanted to, I just want to finish off there about the talents in our fleet. Nothing else after that, and I'm right on the.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me,
Yeah. Okay, here,
okay, yes. So because we're all rolling in the mall, we're not quite sure which way we should maybe tell us stuff.
Yeah, part of my expectation will be give it over to someone who's supremely more capable than me. And I'm hoping we'll find the energies that I make up the rest of the.
Aroha mai, ki mua tira. You know, I te te ari a koutou, I ngā, o ngā tauma, whawhai ana o ngā tātou iwi Māori, o ngā iwi o ki kāinga. Nō reira, you don't have to convince us, kai o tēnei kaupapa, really. Really, me ati kia koe e whai popi, me kia koe. A koutou hoki e no mana ki reira. You don't have to convince us how good this kaupapa is, and te kāinga o ngā rangata. So just reading through the some things, because I don't want, you don't have to convince us.
We're there.
Yeah, and we know what our young people want in our community, and, you know, because kaurau pai ka hai ki ngā kiri, ki te, you know, ki te whanihiri. He pai a te mea aku e nei mo pukinga. So, I suppose what's come before us is, te oti tō hānau ko e tei kāre tino whakai. Now, kāre e mohio mehe me hi ana rātou, te hauatu ki roti tō rōpū, kia hanga he roku me era, te roto haua, e mea ana, e kore taki ana ngā whare, kāre tino haka pai pai ngā whare, kāre e mohio mehe me nā tōna hoa rangatira tau he.
Pai ngā.
Aira, moio ki tira whai. I te mata hoki me te kore, e whira, so you have to convince us. So, how do we sort this out? Poetai roto or, truly, you don't need to convince us.
Actually, I mean, I'm not here to look for them.
Yes.
I'm here for the lease.
Ah.
Them, I don't know where they are. I don't know why. I've got no idea what is happening. I've got no idea. I'm not there for them. I've got enough on my plate. Chasing out people, bringing them in, getting them trained. And now, before I've even advertised, who's here to, they want to off the construction, they're already, I haven't got their opinion. They're already chasing up for our registration now. So I thought I'd bring this in here and show you guys the kind of calmly that's out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
Chair. I can probably clarify a few things here. And then keep some focus.
Maybe you should like to.
Yeah, if you're not.
I'm not be too kind, you guys might take a look. It's a lovely job at home to see, okay? Go on. Just a tiny precursor. Tēnā tātou katoa, ko dala skei tuku, mo hiri tēnei mo hoki anu, ko au te kai kōrero o Ngāti Kaharau me Ngāti Hauhapu, ki Omangai, ki Pukianga. I've come here today to support the deputation that has been put forward by Auntie Ipu, who is herself a hapu kai kōrero on behalf of Te Māori. And we have been a part of the conversation at that whenua for nearly 1,000 years. I just want to put that out there. Whai te kōrero. It's a tikanga that has, has a highly prized position for us in Hokianga, and no doubt other people too, but in an effort to not assume their rights to discuss tikanga, I'll limit the scope of my kōrero to Hokianga. To thoughtfully add to kōrero in a way that grows the collective understanding of all of us, of all who are involved. It's at hapu hui, you can see it as like a subtle balancing of contributions. There's a reason I'm talking about this, because to outright ask and demand something, or outright ask and demand an outcome, it's seen as an unfortunate stance. It's an unseemly act. Because actually, when we have a decision-making process that we all trust and equally know how to participate in and can be of consequence in, then it's not necessary because we arrive at the conclusion together. So today I am here not only to support Auntie Ipu and Rao and my mum, Muhi, and the rest of our whānau sitting around this table, but I'm also here to challenge the premise that exists within the way council makes its decisions, which has led to us arriving here feeling like we need to defend this law in the first place. On one hand, we see that there is this interface between our tikanga and te ture Pākehā. That's what we're really talking about in dealing with in the context of this, what she's talked about, as the groove. With the groove we get, that's really what we're discussing, okay? So the interface between our tikanga and te ture Pākehā facilitates this collision of reputations. And we start to see people utilising different methods and ways to seek to either undermine or assert their own objective. Putting it simply, how decisions are made are of equal importance to the ultimate outcome. Now, I just want to acknowledge that probably everybody here in this room agrees with these statements, and I don't want you to feel like I'm preaching to the converted, but I'm saying to you with humility and genuine understanding and relationship that sometimes, despite knowing something, we don't reflect enough to identify that what's translating the ultimate outcome of the machine that we're a part of is still creating these things in our communities. As hapu kai kōrero no Hokianga, I call on the council to consider the premise that exists. And in an effort to not usurp the right of other hapu and other community groups, I'm going to keep it towards this example that we're dealing with today, just for example, but there might be a few others that you'll yourself relate this to. It's no secret that elected representatives and staff here from time to time think it's acceptable to make generic statements about how difficult hokianga is and how problematic we are. We have ourselves listened to council staff and contractors tell commissioners in a formal meeting that working with hapu is unhelpful. And we have tolerated being told in a really unbalanced and selfishly indignant way that they feel uncomfortable coming to hui with us. Over time, these comments and the negative perception of our character as a whole in hokianga has become a playful conversation. And I am here today to say that is enough. That is enough. Despite the obvious imbalance and selfish indulgence of those statements, we resolved time and time again to counter the situation and continue. I want to give you an example. I sat there and listened as a really, and this is not a personal thing. I'm actually reflecting on a culture that I believe exists to a certain degree. And I'm grateful to say that I've seen a lot of improvements in that culture recently. And I am grateful, but still it exists because still we have people that come to our meetings and feel, barefacedly say to us, oh, well, it is very uncomfortable and we do feel quite nervous coming to hui, as if we don't feel nervous coming into here. As if we don't feel aggravated by the idea that someone who has never put their toes in our awa sits at their desk and decides over its future. These are the selfish indulgences that continue to run rampant in the relationship that we are trying very hard to be a part of. There is a reason why there's a hapu kai kōrero from our hapu to come in here from time to time. We'll roll out the real ones. My mum is here today as my presentation to you all of the example that we seek to live up to in our generation. They don't come in here because we are protecting them from an environment that seeks to continuously undermine and question the authority they have to speak over our things. I don't come in here and try and have an opinion on what happens over anyone else's area. We only come to you when we're talking about things that pertain to us. We're very cautious and respectful about that. So there it is. That's the reality of what has led to groups thinking it is okay and a community board of this council sending a letter that I found frankly offensive. The letter that was received by Te Puna o Kupenuku, who is an organisation that hapu endorse and support. Why do we endorse and support? Because for how many years have we had a mainstream tertiary organisation on that campus? And what has it done to transform the futures of our people? Not much. Why? Because they have to let go of who they are when they go in there and learn how to think like someone else. That's the reality. I have seen many of my own whānau become professional students, courses that only ever get them so far because they were never actually allowed at that campus to offer anything of real repute.
Dallas, I'm just conscious.
Some point on.
You've gone over.
3 seconds, over 15 minutes.
No, allowed 5 minutes.
No, I'm 15 because I'm happy with your settings. Is that correct?
Five.
15.
Can, to help us, remember we're on your side.
Yes.
Crystallise what the solution looks like.
But part of this is the narrative that always has to get lost.
Yes,
And that's why not really just the mumai, but I explained at the beginning that we have to compromise those aspects of our tika and come in with an ask and a want. But I'll get to some of these points. I tell you what.
How can we help?
How can you help? There are 2 ways you can help. One is give it all back, because that whenua is ours. So I'm here on behalf of Ngāti Kāro and Ngāti Hapu, and I believe that everybody won't be offended if I say this, but give it back. There's a tribunal claim out that includes all of that whenua in the first place, and we're expecting in the long term to be able to have those negotiations anyways. But give it back to us. That's tuatahi. Tuarua, if that's something you just can't like get through your stomach, then give us a right to occupy instead of a lease. Okay, so there's a second thing that I'd like to say first, and that is that the requests in those letters, I put in an LGOIMA to say how many times in the history of the Kaikohe Community Board have they directly requested to have representation on the governing or equivalent group of a lessee. How many times? That's something that I'd like. I'm just posing a question. Why? Because that actual formal legal agreement is a lessee and a lessor. I don't know how many times the landlord comes around to a tenant in a house and says, hey, I heard you and your wife split. What's going on with that? You know? Because actually, from a legal point of view, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the lessee and the lessor agreement. And so we're in a situation as hapu where as the lessee, as the lessor, the lessee has come out and said, we want to know why people resign. Well, I feel like asking you guys, why do your staff resign? But we don't. Why? Because we know that we're not entitled to that information. Why? Because you have the right as a council to operate. Right? So I don't come around and say, why have your staff resigned? So you tell me why yours resigned, and we'll tell you why else resigned. Tuatahi. Tuarua, the idea that we can be directed to have formal representation. I'm not talking about examples here where the group themselves have requested for council to have representation. It's a little bit different when a council turns around. So what I want to know is, we talked before, unhelpful, problematic. These are all the tags. We've heard them ourselves. They say them to us. These are the tags. And now you know what else we've got. We've got a new tag as a result of that letter. I wrote it down on my list of tags. We're now high risk. And we're a high risk tenant. So high risk that you want to have someone on us or as a part of our group. So high risk that you want to give us this big report. And I want to say, is this the same issue? Is this the same process you went through with North Tech? I don't think so. These kinds of things in here, and the query itself on saying you need to have your meetings publicly. The society has rules. They must adhere to the rules. The society is a process whereby you can become a leader, and it does not involve being bullied by the council, by the Kaikohe Community Board, who have listened to some very unbalanced reports from community. And here's a classic. I'm just going to come in here and say, there was a big palava on Facebook in the Rawene, on the Rawene WhatsApp page about, oh, it's terrible, they cut down all the heritage trees. They cut down all the heritage trees. Kia ora, we were one of them. You know why? Where were those people that cared about the heritage trees when the taikuia was growing up through its canopy? These are the things, these are the personal conversations that should not be a part of this forum. But because of the directive that was received from the Kaikohe Community Board, many of whom I really have a lot of time for and respect, but that directive has prompted us to come in and actually hit back and give you some examples to say, actually, members of our hapu had their character assassinated online with very, very unbalanced perspectives being provided. And I've got to say, well, I see another heritage trees, yes, and you know what, so to me, that who's heritage? And I thought, yeah, Kia because we didn't bring the apple trees over. Now, I'm not trying to raise other people's heritage, but what I am saying is that there's an opportunity for that space to be used to teach skills that are essential for our people to connect into kōrero tuku. Now, I'm not sitting here defending this. I'm just offering a countering perspective because why? We don't play our games on Facebook. That's not okay for hapu kōrero, so we can't. But when they get brought in like this, we have no choice but to say to you, actually, if we want to have that conversation, we'll have it. It's disdainful that we even have to have this, but there's two things. I would give it all back, or tuarua give us a right to occupy. Kia ora. And I'm going to hand over to the wrap up.
I guess today we went into space.
Oh.
Kia ora rā, hoi no e tautu whanara e ngā kōrero e tātene paia, ngā kōrero e tātene tuahine. O te ho he mea, ki tēne, hare mai te tauto, me te āwhina tu nei, i te kaupapa, hora hia ki te presidente. I aua, i taua, ua whoranga, kia te wanga tahai hea anko ki ngā. Ko taha ki te wanga, e kukuri hei ako i ngā kōrero tuku iho i waiho hia mai nei e nuku tawhiti mai au ruan me rau haenga mai tuku pianga mai me rau. No reira, hapoa te aha, hara ko ngā whare e te mea nui o māte mo te ako. E mahara nau e mohi i tahi o ngā wāna ngani a haere hia tu rau i ngā tātou puti. No reira, hara ko te whare, ngari ko ngā koranga kia mautunu. Ko tahi mango tau e nei kōrero tuku iho e nei a koranga i waiho kia mai nei ngā mātua tainu mai ki tēnei reanga. Ko ta mātou hia, tahi mango tau atu i kone e mautunu ngana i rā kōrero mō ngā uni whaka. Koe rāta mā e tautuka nei ngā mahi nei. Ko ngā mahi e kōrero hia te nei, ngā tuahine nei, te kaupapa he oranga tinana, oranga ngā kaupapa waihu. Te rā te hobu ni ka ngā kamata te kaupapa te nui. Tēnei te tautuka ni kaua ke ngara, te haere mai, te tautuka mai tēnei ngā amata. Te tūna mai e kia whai wāwhi ai. Kia tuku mai ngā mahi ana, ngā mahi mātauranga, whakaaka tamaruki, ngā mahi ana i tēnei taha mo tēnei me te oranga o te wai, a ngā mātauranga, mātou tupuna, kia tuku tonu, kia tuku tonu, kia tuku. Koia.
Just before it goes, I was having a question, one of my questions, we should follow on an education research. And I actually told what Dallas is saying, allow us to occupy. That way we don't have to follow it, we can values and no other savings imposed on the business. Because and the last one is we're struggling with this relationship with FNBC.
Give us a hug.
Because the confidence that needs to be restored here.
Aye.
We've lost a lot of confidence in how they've been treating us. So, that's another one I'm going to get into.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you're worried, that's not, I'm going to give it now.
We'll go back to John, who's going to put a big bar around this.
Yeah, just, and I realise that it's a very strong footy movement, so is Gus at the head, so my stroke's up here, but but just a bit of history. Actually, I'm really a bit upset that there's this argument because we're saying the same things. The perspective is slightly different, and you just got to listen to what's being said.
Did you say that to them?
Yeah, I am. But I'll explain. Let me explain. Yeah, let me explain. It's been heard. I understand it's been heard. So so originally what happened is North Tech, which had that campus was doing courses there. They determined the courses, not the local authority. Oh, they did?
We determined.
Between the time frame.
Talking about the time frame before, and then they left. I had to cover this. Then they left. They were given some time to take the buildings away because they did some really good buildings there. That then came into the possession as the land, as you correctly reported, is set up for an educational reserve. So it then was what it came to council. Then what are we going to do with that piece of land? Well, the then CEO decided to invest, put up for sale and sold. But naturally, the community and the community board, and as you were there too, and different others said, no, we can't afford to do that. You don't want to sell it. Because what's going to happen? Developer will buy it in some house or what? So what actually happened at that stage? We looked at we looked at putting a group together, and that was done quite quickly, and then twice we did go through that detail. And TPOK was born out of that, and the lease was with TPOK. But the argument, and I was there doing that argument, the argument was, what we'll do is we'll make something available for the community so they can run their own courses, whatever that looks like. TPOK, we can manage the facility. And a lease was given, as you see currently. And that was about the best we could do, quite frankly, with the idea, and I think you remember that, going even further, even selling it to the community eventually. But there's some of those buildings were in disrepair, and naturally council, with its health and safety aversion, said there's a few conditions that have to be met. So they put all those things in there and away we went for the lease. The idea is to be okay, manage that facility and make it available to whatever the trainer is for the Māori, to whoever wants to do it, including North Deck or including region, whoever wants to do it. So it was, if that was the different model. So it wasn't being going to be run by one trainer, failed last time, but TPOK would do the management. Now, of the campus. That's all it was. And look, I respect you with all of the passion you have for the learning and everything else.
You're cutting yourself to the whole.
No, that's. And everything else. No, I'm not. I think it's great. It's great. And you heard the course, which is great. So all of that is great. So all we really want out of this is to address some of the concerns that have been raised, which are mostly chemical safety issues. Make sure that TPOK is managing correctly and how we can actually help with that. And then, and you're not at risk. Like the one, I think, is not at risk for anybody else. We have to have that security there. So that's fine. So that's where we're, and just jealous because, you know, I've mentioned different by name, I mentioned my name. Community board is not an agent of the council, so it's not like.
Is the community board the Whanau District Council Kuaka Community Board?
It's a Kuaka Community Board. It's actually separate under the Act. It's a separate entity. It's not.
No, I get that. But if everybody votes, do you think that they're voting for something that what's under the community building? What?
It doesn't sit under.
Is it closer to?
It's a separate entity.
Is it
Yeah, but that's a whole thing.
It's going that way.
Yeah. Talk to you later. But so it's like.
Through the chair, can I respond? Through the chair, can I respond to that? It'll be very short. Yes, okay. Your concept of history is very short compared to ours. Unfortunately, also, I want to point out that in her report, she clarified a vast range of organisations. It seems that you have been mainly concerned with the Taiwan or Hokianga, but there were a number of organisations. It's what you get when you're doing like that. Okay, right. So the point is that no, and I appreciate what you're trying to do, but in your asking the question, Mr. Chair, he has himself positioned himself as in an intermediary position between two groups, as though there are two groups. I want to put forward to this committee, to Te Kuaka, including the people who are online listening, that if we knew that this was going to be a battle of complaints, I would have brought you a list that was 3 miles long about complaints about. And also the assumption that that means that the group that's in charge of this facility and the authority to run this facility, if there are more people wanting these spaces available, I'm assuming you accept that it's up to the committee to decide which spaces will be prioritised for what groups.
Okay, can I just jump in there, because I'm fearless. So what I didn't hear that from John. I heard something a bit slightly different. So just be careful of the lenses you look through and look for bridge building. So there's some moments in there that we need to kind of reflect on. So for us, it's wonderful that we're able to talk about those things quickly. I feel like I'm home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine, we here, but the thing is, we can't keep suffering like this. And we can't keep running around the corner because the community is still
Yeah.
happening.
So,
And it's too much as because we're pulled back, we can't go forward, we try and do a lot of this work done. I've just had a call with what do you call it, guttering works to clean the gutterings at the thingy, that's still, we're gonna wait in with money.
yeah.
So it's all that, so, all of this is just about, this is all part of the building.
Yeah.
That we're getting.
Okay, so let's,
The report.
can I just circle around this so we can keep going in a positive way? So that, I just reflect on Calvin Davis keeps saying, be careful what you ask for. I'm suggesting you are very clear if you're asking for, so that can help us to kind of navigate those spaces.
Yeah.
And the Johns, the Steves and other councillors will be alert to that. So thank you for that clarity. We get the passion.
Yeah, what John hasn't done is come to talk to us.
Yeah.
He's been listening to it on his side.
He will be there for a cup of tea and scones.
He's going to be sure what he's coming for.
Okay.
Are you clear what we have asked for?
Yep. You made it very clear. So that's the thing in my view, we can talk to the council about what that could look like.
Can I just offer finally, I would like to, it's not our culture one to ask if things are right like that. So that's a compromise on our part. And I just want to say that we're not non-knowledgeable about education, around tikanga Māori, around tapu. We have come here for a reason today, because we feel like our kaipōrero has been isolated and hammered over this time. And here we are today to make that clear that she's not on earth. We are all collaboratively and collectively as hapu and as people who are knowledgeable in different fields to this vision. We're not hands off here. We're not absent. We're part of this process.
Okay.
Please.
I'd also like to know, before we close down, that we've got there is a possibility, a good, strong possibility. Because if we don't, then I'm going to start looking at winding down in 2024.
Right. Okay.
So tahi ake e mihi nui ana ki a koutou ko tāni o ke hei kamuki. I ngā porata me ngā moimoi a tātou ki atu ai tātou e mi tēne anu ki ukianga tātou o tukianga a mihi nui ana. Koe a ka tai karua, a ka pāha ngai tēnā me tai mai ki kone kia wānanga i rene i me kōrero i roto i tēnei whare i roto i te tātou i screening. A hau neina, masapira pai anō taku hare ki te naka whiti, pī ki poko pia me mōku, koe a tēnei tētaki i weho ngā kaupapa i noho ana ki ronga i ngā poko menei mātou i noho ana ki te. Engari, i mua ki atu pia e te hemana i te tui. Tuatahi mo te Kuaka hei te tau hau, i kia ona hau, kia kono, ka hori anō ai i mōhio ki te tini me tuano ngā kōrero tēne. I waihono ai ki te whāri hapui o te kaikoe ko te tōkeni ai. E tuatahi tanga wetahi rene koni ka ki rene taringa mōku i tēnei a whanatula e tīre rei tīnga i meira. Hei, kia whai huara ki kinua, ai, e haka runua tana e whare ana taringa ki tēnei tono ko tai mai, o taku hihia kia kōrero ki ngā kaumai o tēnei kanihira ki te kite atu me nā ni ka whae. Tuarua, mō ngā momo tūrau kua pui a mea e roto i tēnei ngui me kōrero ahau ki wera o ngā kaimangi ki te whai a lo kai koe koe ki te okera nui ati ki o tātahi. Tēnā pia hei huarahi kinua, waiho māku taku taha, taku whare, e hakatika i tēnei kai te tuatahi. Engari hei te tauhau, kia hui tahi ai tātou katoa, kawa i roto i tētahi wahi pere ni ka pai atu ki hoki ana rangi. Kia whai huarahi ki mua e kōkere ki mua. Kia apua wāre ngā moemoe a menga wata o te puna o Kupenuku ki tōna anu whare. E hanga kauri ana hui pēnei mātou, e hai tinga he kōti kāngaru tēnei kia nānai ki ana ki atua ki tātou. Ka aoha ki hei, no wana. Chachi rotu i tēnei pari kōti. Engari kutapa ki. Wai mō mātou o tēnei taha. Akatakato me ngā kōrero e tika ana kia kōrero. Ana hei te tauhau e mua i te hui tuatahi o te Kuaka. Ka hui tahi ai tātou katoa. Ana kia taumai tētahi kūrongo ki te hui tuatahi o tēnei komiti. Hei hakau, hei hakamana i ngā kia o tātou. E whaina kia whai i te rangi me horahi ki mua. Mehia. Mr. Chief, just for those, because I realised we didn't have the translation. So I've been doing it and I'll send council that extra building. It's a freebie. What I'm hoping is that we on council, for council, what I have been some of what has been going on was it is quite new and it's implementations for us to hear today. So what I'm hoping is that we can have a mahui on our side of things and all the requests that we've received today. So take that into account as well. But that we have a hui in the meeting before, so it gives us time to, or me, gives me time to figure out what's going on in my family. And then we can have a hui. We've got our whānau here, all of us in one room out in Hokianga, so it doesn't have to be in a kangaroo court type situation here today. When he said, she said, they said, we said, and that we would expect a report with the joint recommendations from us together to come back as an update for Kuaka and the new. And I also suggest that if that is the end of our deputations, that maybe we pause for a quick cup of tea, fighting about the moment here, before we continue with the final 5 items on our agenda. Cup of tea.
You sign state at the moment, then very much part of the one. What's all that? The first meeting was ceremony,
For those online,
Just through the chair.
You come and visit us, Maria.
She's trying to
Mary,
say
just through the chair, just before, if you don't mind, just really just because I'm having to go too, but I just picked up some great things. Harry, if all it took was a hug, we'd be a lot further on. but there we go. It is a hug and probably lots more kōrero. So appreciating e moko wau nei, whakaaro wau nei kōrero. It's the second time I've heard the expression kangaroo court today. Interestingly enough, both in council settings. I'm not sure what that suggests. E rere ata kānu te mihi kia koe e Dallas koutou katoa te taumata kōrero, ngā kōrero katoa ka puta mai i tā koutou nei tangi. I rongo atu au te mea ka hoki whenua mai. Hiau nei, ka hoki ngā mea katoa mai, e hara mo te whenua noiho, te reo ngā mea katoa o tātou te Māori. Anō reire, Harry, i rungi tēnei mihi atu ana kia koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora rā.
it's no wine, it's not funny. Mindy Wheelman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Always. Okay, should everyone, let's keep us going because of course, the back down and put dinner.
Guess what? Finally, getting fish and chips.
Happy day.
Okay, so we've got everybody on. Let's presume that here. So item 6.1, recommendations that the Kuaka Māori committee received the report session on the Whānau District Council naming panel. Certainly read all the 40 I'm move it. Thanks, committee. Someone seconded it. All in favour? Aye. And I moved. Any addition? Don't go there. Keep going. 6.2. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Mike, can I just, Lani, did you want to, I thought that we needed to populate names with this, or does the populating list you then can follow that up?
Thanks. No, we'll not make it early, but. So, yeah, we'll,
Just need our recommendation that there is the post, and then you'll take that up. So the couple. No further audio required in the meetings.
Okay, 6.2, rating relief policy amendments. That particular on the committee received a report rating relief policy amendments. So it's just a receipt of the report. Board readers. In favour of receiving the report.
Oh,
You want to say it?
Sorry. It's a moving policy.
It's just a receipt. Just over for read about it, I'm thinking.
further to this.
Yeah.
Coming to this table, these are the work that we need to do internally also. So the recommendation is to receive the report. We, after we've done some internal work, we'll bring it back to the Kuaka further discussion. It will probably activate a wider ratings relief policy review, and then we can go forward to council. Because this is not quite the roof through this policy review.
So there's some legislation there that's missing that we need to allude to, right? And then, so that's around the rating, and then the second bit is what does relief look like? And so that's a discretionary part of council. So there's a forced line that council has to respond to, and then there's just discretionary component of that. That's how I understand that.
Just say this, this approach will determine how we should put within our policies, and so we need to be very clear on what legislation allows us to do and how we interpret that into policy.
I see, sorry, just for quorum, chair, we just have.
Oh, he does. I just followed his benefit, but he.
Oh, yes, please. Sorry, Steve, we're just gonna have your reports.
And Anne's online.
just gave me feel the link.
Gave me a very long.
I didn't go on the phone then. Oh, my.
We just have you on the phone, here, thanks, Steve.
So on that, should we extend that, receive the report rating release with further amplification of, how we respond to the belief.
Can you keep this report line on the table, Jesus, and we do a bit more work on it and we can back to another support that we.
So through you, the chair, motion. Sorry.
I'm just. No, I had a portable, but I think everyone that's here is pretty knows the background to it in terms of the government rating on female well-being Act 2021.
That's what I was talking
And our current rating policy. And since, geez, I've already started and lost what to go. So in reference to that, so for significant relevance, established as a legal framework for the administration of and governance of Māori land, acknowledging the nuisances and intricacies of the past legislations as imperative of ensuring fair and accurate rating assessments. The Act not only outlines the rights and responsibilities associated with Māori land, but also underlines the need for transparency and consultation and decision-making process. With past week and a lot of them with Whenua Māori Trust has underscored the critical nature of FNDC staff being well versed in the intricacies of local government, more specifically the rating of Whenua Māori Amendment Act 2021 to prevent the recurrence and inaccuracies in the rating, which have been a persistent issue. As mentioned, understanding our internal processes and integral and aligning our practices with the legal requirements and cultural considerations associated with Māori land. So a lot of these changes in terms of our policies would, for example, one, reducing the barriers for owners of Māori freehold land who want to use occupied building houses and develop their whenua, particularly for those who have rates arrears, stimulating regional development to the value in terms of fully utilising and developing Māori land could result in benefits of up to $1.4 to $2 billion over several years, providing greater consistency, equity and clarity around the rating of Māori land for the benefit of Māori landowners and local authorities. So there's many examples in terms of the wholly owned use land to be non-rateable, the before-after benefits. For example, clear the way for Māori landowners to develop and use Māori land, as previously mentioned, to pay the rates or to have those white in terms of the policies that we've seen as applicable to the CEO once talked to him by the rating team, and also a staff member from Te Hono who works specifically around Māori rating policies. So that's just my point. I've actually got way more to get, but I think we can all agree and understand the background to the Amendment Act and our responsibility with the FNDC to amend our current policies, and then we've also had acknowledgement from other staff members to say that the engagement process has not been well met on our side to cater to Whenua Māori. Oh, and to also mention that early on in our term that we did adopt our scaling policy for as a rate relief policy, and that looks at the conditions of the criteria over an 8-year period, starting from years 1 to 3 being 100% remitted, years 4 to 5 75%, years 6 50%, 7 25%, and year 8 0% remitted, depending on the stages of the development.
Mr. Chair, may I speak? I just want to acknowledge, one, that this is our first report, to my knowledge, coming from our new principal advisor for Te Hono, Jude Campbell, who may or may not be my mum's baby sister. So that's not a thing. But this is, I see this is the first step that doesn't preclude us from continuing with the review of other policies that could be having required. So we don't need to leave it on the table. We can past decisions. But what I wanted to steer from staff on is that, so what councillor Akina has just alluded to, for me, when I look at our numbers, I see that we have $10 million of debt sitting on the federal line. That's ridiculous, right? And it's also ghost money. It's for the past dating back to 2018, year on year, we had $2 million of rates of federal money that we do not receive. So how the legislation provides a mechanism where we can wipe that, and then we've got these policies to incentivize farming on to develop their whenua, so that in actual fact we should be getting an extra $2 million in the bank in rates as a council to be able to provide services to the district. So what I want to steer from staff on is I understand that operationally we have processes in place to further look at how we operationalise that new legislation that Councillor Akina has mentioned. Do you require that in writing to give you the push you need within our organisation to be able to achieve it? And if so, are you looking into a slight amendment to this recommendation to word it specifically to allow it to happen? Or is that going to happen whether or not we have a resolution to it?
Here. I mean, here from the author of this paper.
We're going to be hiding.
So, the table, what other meetings do you want to say?
I would not.
Further?
I would, so the recommendation would be that Te Kuaka Te Māori Committee receive the report ratings relief policy amendments as an A. And B, that Te Kuaka Te Māori Committee ask Te Hono to also review the implementation of the Rating of Whenua Māori Amendment Act 2022 and provide us with recommendations on changes to help decrease ratings that we have. Because that will give the incentive for us to try and reduce that $10 million from debt every year to actual income, which is the ultimate goal in this space.
Decrease ratings specific to whenua.
To federal.
Jason, just wanted to know that I'm just thinking about that, being that specific in the resolution, because we need corporate services, we need the rating team, and we need our chief financial officer. So just
Remove the reference to Te Hono and just ask staff. We need it, and if we could get it up just so I can see what I'm sorry, Chief, I know that we hate having amendments on the lines.
Okay, well, talking about John, you had a thought. No, I didn't. I was just trying to pronounce Jason was winning, but no, I'm happy with that because we do have to consolidate here. So I would assume that give you a reason, make it specific. That's good.
We had a workshop with Te Hono, with our Whenua Māori specialist, who said that there are actual things that we can implement within the legislation because it does give flexibility, but our internal procedures are not quite there yet. So this would be the review to be able to fully enact what the legislation is providing our chief executive to write off rates debt on federal.
And also, make a right for the events that we've got in place.
Sorry,
Take away the X.
Yeah.
yes, I mean, we've got the highest deprivation area in the whole country, in the north. And something in their rating policy has been contributory to that. Yeah. I think it's incumbent on us to, look at having a good review on this policy.
So, if you're a disciple of Margaret Mutu, the saying, we would be knee deep in the inequity of rates.
Yes.
So how do we round up to that in a principled way? And building on what Hill was saying is rates have probably go through our fund. So how do we flip it around? How do we support our farmer get into a position of economic prosperity where the rating process comes out of the back of it, opposed to being imposed on it? And but I was looking for in this policy setting is what does the law allow us to do? So there's and what discretion that allows us to do as well. Because of the 2022 Act is a degree of discretion. It sits with the council.
We have, we have our own policy and processes within council, and it's under 9-year chief executive operates that can all be recovered. So there's a whole list of areas that the CEO must go through in terms of based on the chief executive's opinion, that they cannot see those rates to be recently.
So that's retrospective. What I'm suggesting is how do we front it as opposed to making all our farming criminals or subjugated to something that they don't buy and principally to create that pathway, understanding there will be parts of our audience will be saying, well, why is it us? You know what I mean? So we've got to find that process of natural justice allows us to so it's not a retrospective, it's forward looking. It's like, yeah.
So, we're sorry for you, Chair, is that okay? So it's is that?
And report back to Te Kuaka, why can we put a date to me?
Yes. February or when?
I'm looking at the staff that indicate a date that would give.
Oh, it sounds like something.
Is that enough time? I'm probably looking more at Jace because I know this goes beyond just teams and group, but requires input from the teams as well.
The good thing is that those conversations have already started, so I think it's been pushing, and so it's for.
Can we put our date for Te Kuaka 2024, our first one back then? 22nd.
Second, yeah. Of February 27th. February 27th.
Well, I want to get on the habit of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That leads the movements. Even if it's coming back to say the need more time, not back at stuff.
Something like somebody looking up what you're talking about rating inequity, how rating on whenua Māori has led to this deprivation. I don't want it to be a depressing thing, but that it can be quite keep talking about when the Kuaka wrote off a huge debt because people were unable to pay for it. And when some people in the public were saying, this whole group doesn't do anything for our poor people and people can't manage, they don't. So actually we wrote off this 60K because we knew that whānau couldn't. And then there was a 6-month opportunity where everyone got it. You don't have your medical treatment for the next 6 months is free. That was a big lift as a result of some sort of policy shift. But I'm kind of wondering if we can, frame that, because otherwise I'm worried that the general public will think we're, just trying to do stuff, to benefit one, but actually it's nearly, it's over 150 years
This
old.
benefits the general public is that we've got $10 million already sitting on our books that we have no way of recovering, to be honest. The policy allows us to wipe off that negative debt that we still have budget for and end up having to debt fund.
That's
And
the outcome.
the flip side of it is that in 10 years' time, actually, over the life of the 10 years future focus, we're going to have $10 million in revenue that benefits all ratepayers because it comes into the pie for us to then provide services across the land. So the current debt that sits there, if this incentivizes Māori Māori from developing their budgets and being able to contribute to running this district through rates by wiping it and incentivizing the development of being Māori through the other policies that we have, we are then going to have income coming in so that everyone is contributing rather than currently having $10 million sitting there. That looks bad, that doesn't allow us to move forward. And if I use a specific example, if I was to come in here to inherit the title, the rating unit for one of my great parents because it's a deceased estate, it currently, on average, will have about $8,000 in debt sitting on it that I would have to assume if I put my name to it. Our current processes allow council staff to wipe off 2 years worth of that debt. That's $2,000. So, but I'll still be there with $6,000. So why on earth would I put my name to that and inherit a $6,000 bill that's been there for forever and time? The current legislation allows our staff to wipe all 10 years with the total 8,000, but that's not what our processes are allowing us to do. A clean start will then say, actually, do you know what? Whānau, here, council's going to wipe it. Let's come in. Let's assume title. Let's develop it. Let's talk to CPK. Let's talk to A, B, C, D. Let's talk to Uncle Shane and his new provincial growth fund pot and what that could for our family. And then guess what? We'll be contributing $2,000 a year in rates because we're living on it and we've made it economically sustainable for our family and the future generation. So there's flip side. So the reason why I want this review to happen is to enable and incentivize everyone in the industry.
The other plus, Mr. Chair, is that we get the GST back. Currently, we've got the answer rate, we actually pay the GST with government.
Yeah.
No, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Got about a lot of that money. So doing that,
Yeah.
actually does reduce money back.
Okay, so let's go back to this, amended. So does that read right for everybody?
Is that really work? At the moment, it says that Te Kuaka Te Māori Committee received a report ready to review policy amendments and we request staff review the implementation of the rating for Māori Agreement 2021 to decrease rating debt and report back to Te. 22nd of February 2024. So you just need a move or second and vote.
Your report back measures.
I don't think it's rating whenua Māori, it's te ture whenua.
It's
In the implementation of it.
Te ture whenua. Te ture whenua.
Māori.
Is it?
Can we just, we're specifically talking about the one that Minister Mahuta implemented changes in. But I remember speaking to City Commissioner, and it was Mayor Kana, it was is it the local government rating of whenua Māori?
Yes.
Act?
Yes, that's,
That's the 20.
yeah, that's, is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's local government, so it's this.
Brackets, right?
Local government, and ratings of whenua.
Okay. Bracket fixing and feeding something.
Rating.
I think the key bit is how do we incentivize our farmers to create economic prosperity through the appropriate allocation of rates. Is that what it is? It's not decreasing rates, it's repurposing it.
Yeah, should be more fresh start, so that's an incentive, so we can get the economy out. as well.
for this.
And I'm happy to be the mover.
Second, third, and then just a vote. Move second, and then we just need a vote.
Yeah, fine. I'm gonna move her.
Yeah.
Second. All in favour? Against? Carried.
6.3.
So this is the list of MOUs that are sitting in their briefing papers. That to Kuaka received a report and the approach of development charter of 27 and when it comes to board approach. Having with screening memorandum partnerships. Attached to
Over.
the someone to move second.
I.
Oh.
So somebody's moved, pull the second. All in favour?
Aye.
Oh, it's what you need.
Pretty happy, Gary. Five. 6.4.
Okay, to Kuaka, received a report, to cover Tommy Tyre for update.
Moving second.
Moving seconded.
Over.
Thanks, Hilda. Second. Thanks, Nigel. All in favour? Aye, against, thanks. So just received, noted, and then the last one is, to work, receive the report. Now, take a moment, that's not finished tonight.
Mover and seconder.
I move up. Just gonna receive it, so hold it, thank you. Second. Thanks, John. All in favour? Against? Carried. Right. You know, business. Nothing. So, thank you, Kathy. Right?
Do we, what's the difference today or what we do? Huh? We get two opposing views from 100. Well. I don't know, maybe not here. Maybe not here.
Go to the committee.
And for the meeting in the.
I'm able to close off with action. It's also kind of activity permanent school and when it's that we in a market school my education and some so one some curriculum paper. If we relay get some key on the one second point here so we in the morning can we get for following in one second we have to prohibit physical in a one look at so I paper to secondo me lei non è rimasto
Thank you, everybody on screen. Yeah.
Wasn't it good that, the entity was on